Hello, sewing socialites. I have a super fun project for you today. It is this uber cute, customizable, standard size pillowcase. I think what makes this really nice, one, this beautiful little accent here, I think makes it look polished and finished. But you'll notice all of my raw edges here have been tucked inside this cute little cuff on the top. And I think that gives it a really nice finished, polished look. And on the inside, we've used French seams so that there aren't any raw edges exposed here either. For this project, you're going to need the following materials. I chose to use 3 different pieces of fabric, one accent, one sort of coordinating color, and one main piece of fabric. For the main piece of fabric, you're going to want to measure 27 inches by 38 inches. For the top cuff of the pillowcase, you want 8 inches by 38 inches. And for the accent fabric, I've chosen a nice bright solid that's in both of our primary and secondary colors. You want 2 inches by 38 inches. And here's my first little tip for you. This is very close to the width of a bolt. So what I've actually done with each of these fabrics is I left the selvage on and I just cut the widths. And I left that almost 38-inch length because that just cuts down on your work and your cutting time. In addition to your fabrics, you'll obviously need something to cut with. I like my rotary cutter and self-healing mat. You could also use a good pair of shears. Something to mark with, something to measure with, a few pins, and that's really up to you. A nice coordinating thread. I like this. This is an ironing guide. We're going to be doing French seams on this pillowcase, which just tucks in the raw edges of your project. And I find something that you can use as a hem guide and then iron directly over is super handy. You'll need an iron and something to iron on. I have sort of off frame right here. I have a padded desktop ironing mat so that I can do that all in one location. Okay. Let's get started. So sort of folding and ironing is a big part of what makes this project special. So the first thing that we'll need to do is take this long accent strip of fabric and we'll be folding it in half. And the raw edges will be tucked inside the pillow cuff. And the folded edge will stick out just a little bit and make a really nice accent on our pillowcase. So we'll fold that in half down the entire length and give it a quick iron. The next bit of folding and ironing we'll need is with the top cuff. And again, notice I just left the selvage on here, partially because we are doing the French seams. So you'll do 1/4 of an inch and then 1/4 of an inch again. And by the time you've done that, the exposed edge, it'll cover up all the selvage and also just to cut down on our cutting time. So right now it's folded in half, sort of horizontally here. And we're going to instead unfold that and fold it vertically. What I'm doing is putting the seam in that will exist on the finished project. So I have wrong sides together and a vertical fold and press. Sort of finger pressed it here so you can see. We are going to unfold that, so it's important that it has a good press in it so that it keeps its shape and you can see exactly where the correct fold should be. Once that is ironed vertically, we will begin some pinning with our main primary fabric. So let me get that ironed real quick and we'll come right back. Okay, so I've neatly pressed the top cuff, our small piece of accent fabric, and now I have our main piece of fabric that makes the body of the pillowcase. And here's where the magic of this pillowcase comes in. I sort of have it laid out here so you can see what the finished pillowcase will sort of look like. Cuff, accent, main fabric. So it's really all about the folding, the pinning, and then the sewing is just some straight lines. So in order to get started, we'll start with this top cuff, and it's ironed in half and then folded in half again so you can see where it lays out as a pillow. You are going to open this up, right sides together. I may have been a little too good with my seam there. Then take your 2-inch strip, ironed vertically in half piece of fabric, and put raw edges and right sides together. Every side's a right side on this one because it's ironed in half with 2 right sides out. I don't want to pin yet because there's more fabric to come. Now, again, right sides together. I'm going to take our primary piece of fabric. It's going to make the body of the pillowcase. I'm going to sort of just make sure I keep my line there. I have this extended sort of off the frame so that it's all laid out pretty tidily. Then right sides together, selvage edge to selvage edge. We're going to lay the primary piece of fabric. Now, I like to put a couple of quick clips on this. You could use pins or clips, whatever you most prefer. And the reason I like clips is because I'm still not done. The entirety of the cuff is going to surround the fabric. I'm just doing a couple of quick ones here, sort of keep it lined up and make sure we don't lose that little accent fabric in the center. It's like a fabric sandwich, except no quilt. It's pretty good. Now we're going to take the main body of the pillowcase and start rolling it up. We're going to encase it completely in that outside cuff. And this is what produces a pillowcase with no visible seams, because all of these raw edges will be tucked up inside the top cuff of the pillowcase. So I'm just trying to roll pretty tidily and sort of finger pressing as I go. And you'll notice I'm not quite past this center line, so I'm going to fold one more time. And I do like to put a couple of pins here. Remember, the pin is here so you don't hurt yourself, but I find the pin takes less volume than the clip, and it tucks up inside a little better while I sew. And now I am ready to bring the top up, and I'm going to add it to my little fabric bundle here. Let me give this a quick stitch. Just stitch all the way along. We'll come back and we'll birth our pillowcase. All right, so we sewed all the way along this cuff. We have this nice long snake of fabric. Let's give that a press really quickly. I love these little tabletop ironing boards. Don't mind mine, it's a little dirty. And I probably have my heat setting up a little high. This is just to get those threads to sort of lock in place. I remember taking home ec in 7th grade, and our teacher taught us to do a few simple projects. We like pieced together a pillow. But I remember her talking about ironing after you sew, and I didn't get it. And she explained it the best way. She's like, a thread is this long, straight thing. and you are trying to get the thread to lay in this zigzag back and forth pattern. And the best way to do it is to press it in place. And that helps just really lock it in and hedge against unraveling a little bit. It looks like it's going to be tough, but it's not, right? You just hold at one end, pull at the other, and that is it. A tip there with the pins, I didn't push the ends all the way through. You had like 10 layers of fabric. I just sort of hid the end of the pin in the fabric so that it wouldn't poke out. It's right there. Okay, so our cuff is turned right side out again. And you can see we have this beautiful pillowcase. I'm going to go ahead and get that ironed up. After I iron it up, I will trim off the extra. Remember, I just cut all the way to the selvage, so my ends were at slightly different places, so we knew we'd have a little cleanup there. And it also sort of corrects any errors I have with folding. You can see like that didn't come to exactly a square, so I can clean that up. Let me press that out, and we'll talk about doing a French seam, and then we're done with this project. That's it. Okay, I went ahead and pressed this, and I'm going to trim off my excess here. You're going to have a really thick section there, so be sure to press extra hard. I'm not always good at getting all of that, but I did today. Yay. Now we have a nice square. So this is the next a little bit unique part. I want these raw edges to go away. I don't want them to be here. So instead of just turning right sides together and then sewing a traditional hem allowance seam, I'm going to put wrong sides together first, stitch it backwards, and then we will come back, turn it around, iron it, and try it again the other way. So I'm just going to put a couple of clips in the right places. I like to make sure this little seam sort of lines up here. That's the important bit. And this is so easy with this fabric. This is like a little bit of a flannel. You'll notice it says it's not for children's sleepwear because children's sleepwear has to have fire resistance to it. Hopefully it's okay for a pillowcase. Put in the comments if you know more about that. And I'm going to sew this up and I'll be right back. All right, so I did my first seam. I actually left my black bobbin thread in so you could see a little better on this side. And it's all along the edge of my pillowcase. And now we just turn it inside out. Oh, but look at this cuff. So perfect. All of those edges tucked right up inside. Let me get this turned around. And here is where I like my little tool. You know, poke this out with whatever you have. So I'm going to take my corners here. And you can see, sometimes, you know how you play that little roll game until the seam feels like it's poked all the way out? Well, if you just put this tool in and pull back against the fabric, and then you can iron right over it. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll come back and do our last seam, and that is it. The project is done. See. Okay, I like to start sewing where it matters the most. So I'm going to start at this little cuff because that's the most exposed area. And again, I'm just going to show you the side with the black thread. Forgive my not straight stitches because I just went really speedy here. We can clip our little hangers on her. Straight line, straight line. So this is what's inside the pillowcase. All those raw edges are tucked away. You can't tell that there was a selvage here. Let's clip them. Oh, I got a little tangled up here. Okay. And now give it a quick press again, just to sort of lock those stitches in place. This is the finished product inside a nice little pillowcase, and I think it is so cute. Look at this, cute as a button pillowcase. All right, friends, socialites, so easy. Even you can do it. Have a good one.